I'm here today to do my second part of my reading wrap up for the month of April. Today is Sunday. It is April 28th, and at the time of this recording, I have currently read 14 books for the month of April, which is really amazing. So I wanted to give you guys the rest of the books that I read, and if I have to, I will add the rest of my books till my May TBR when I'm wrapping that month up, or I may just add it to the end of this video. Let's see how long this video is, to be honest with you. So the next book that I wound up completing in the month of April was Crown of Feathers by Nikki Paul Prito. Book that I read was the Owl Crate exclusive edition, and I wound up giving it to one of my students in my cast, so I don't have it anymore. But I really like this book. I wasn't always in the mood to read fantasy. I've been kind of wanting to read more fast-paced novels, but I actually really wound up enjoying this book. I thought it was a really interesting fantasy. It followed three different point of views, and I was equally invested in all the characters. I found the book to be super compelling. I thought that the world building was super fascinating. There was not a lot of an info dump at the end, which often happens in fantasy novels, and I just thought that it was a very compelling read. I love how the book dealt with found documents, crafting it, and thought that the characters' stories were really interesting. The world was really interesting. I loved the Phoenix Writers' myths, and I thought the ending was kind of shocking, but not in a way that I was expecting. So I ended up giving this read 4.5 stars. I really thought it was interesting, and I'm really excited for book 2 in this series, hopefully coming out next year. What I wound up finishing was my first audiobook of the month, and that was Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. This is my second time reading this book, and I wound up listening to it, and I actually really liked it. I'm really hopeful that I can move on to Queen of Shadows this week. I'm actually just going to purchase the audiobook tonight and hopefully start listening to it tomorrow. But yeah, overall, I really liked re-listening to this. I thought it was a very nice way to dive back into this world, and I'm equally excited to see what Queen of Shadows does for me in the upcoming month. The next book that I wound up finishing was On the Fence by Kasie West. This is another one of the books that I've been dying to finish for the Kasie West canon because my goal is to, before the end of summer or before the end of the school year, is to read all of her books. And this one was actually super fun. It basically followed this girl named Charlotte. She's a pure tomboy. Her mom died when she was much younger, and she has a dad and 4 older brothers and a boy next door that is basically like her older brother. And at the start of this book, sorry, I went to go see Endgame today, so it's a long time in the movies. But really, really good. I won't spoil you guys, but if you guys are even slightly a Marvel fan, I would definitely go see it once the tickets are available. But yeah, so it basically follows Charlotte. She actually got a speeding ticket at the start of the book, so she had to wind up getting a job and working in a clothing store, which is so not her deal. But it winds up changing her for the better. And I just really liked it. That was a really fast-paced story. It dealt with some harder issues underneath. Kasie's West books don't always do that, but I found this one to be super well crafted. Yeah, I just really liked it. I thought that the romance was really, really fun. I thought the friendship was really cool. The friendship wasn't the focus of it like the other friendships in the novel, but I really wound up liking it, and I gave this read 4 stars. The next book that I wound up finishing was Top 10 by Katie Cotugno. This book was a much older arc that I got from BookCon 2 years ago, and I just finally got around to reading it. I like the best friend trope in books because I feel like best friends don't always get the love that they need in any type of YA novels. So I did like that, and I liked how they went back and ventured over their past. But I thought that the structure of how they did that was just not as clear and concise and clear as I wanted it to be. I thought that that the book lacked. I like the idea, but I didn't love the execution. I would have liked a book where the characters were actually telling us the story and having a conversation with the audience to see their thoughts about it. I read a book a while ago. It was called Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eulberg, and they had a very similar trope in that, which I really like. So I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought the ending was really interesting, and I think the ending was my favorite. But the structure of the book, it just wasn't executed the way that I wanted it to be. So overall, I gave this book 3 stars. The next book that I wound up finishing was Pivot Point by Kasie West. This book is much older, and it's also Casey West's first foray into like science fiction novels. And I actually really liked it. It's basically inspired by Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow, where and this is like a science fiction world. So every person in this world or in this story has a power, and you follow Addison. And Addison's power is that she can see what the future is going to be, but only for her. So if she has to make a choice, she can see both paths of this choice and choose the path that she thinks is the path that she wants. And the book starts off with Addison. She's living in this compound that the other world doesn't know that this compound exists, where everyone has various types of powers. And her parents decide that they're going to get a divorce, and Addison has to choose like who she wants to live with. If she wants to stay in the compound with her mom, or if she wants to move to the real world with her dad. And it's just really well done. Like one chapter is Addison in the compound, and the other chapter is Addison outside of the compound. It's just really well done. There's two dual romances that I really liked, and the one thing I loved about it was that like you could see the subtle differences in these stories, and you could see like how this action decided that, and I just really thought it was so well crafted. Time travel novels or like dual those types of anything that deals with like time and choices, I'm just really intrigued by, and I was just really impressed with it. I wound up giving this book like 4.5 stars. Addison grew on me as a character. I really liked her in one of the timelines, and the other timeline I struggled with her a little bit. But I'm really excited to get my hands on Split Second soon. I did order it. And yeah, I'm really excited for this read. The next book that I wound up finishing was actually a really big departure for me, I'll be a little bit honest, and that is Little Do We Know by Tamara Ireland Stone. I've heard a lot of things about this author, and I wound up picking this up like I think like a year ago. And I normally love like harder contemporaries, but this book definitely had a really strong religious undertone. That's not something that I normally read, but I was really invested in the friendships of these characters and the dynamic. So it basically follows these two girls, Emery and Hannah, and they have been best friends for their whole lives. The book starts, they have stopped speaking and they're no longer speaking. And then something happens towards the middle of this book, which is why I would not read Flaps, because it kind of spoils it. But something happens to Emery's boyfriend in this book that really kind of catapults them into a lot of other things. And it deals with faith and religion, friendship. I liked it. I think that the religion kind of took me out of it in some regards. It dealt with like miracles. It reminded me a lot of like recently I saw Unbreakable. And there's like a very similar theme in that than I saw in that, and also Miracles from Heaven. But if you like movies like that, I would recommend this. It just was a really hard hitting emotional contemporary. Like I would say along the games of like Katie McGarry or someone like that, but there's definitely is a strong religious undertone in it. So if that's not what you like to read, then maybe don't read it. But I thought it was okay, and I wound up giving it like 3.5, 4 stars. Book that I have currently finished reading for the month of April was The Revenge of Magic by James Riley. And I did get this arc at New York City Comic Con in October. But I actually really wound up liking this book. Basically, it follows this boy named Ford, and he winds up going on a trip to Washington, D.C. with his dad. And there is an attack of magic here, and his dad winds up being killed, and he winds up having to go live with his aunt, and then he winds up being sent to this magic school. There's a lot of intrigue and mystery surrounding this magic school that he's sent to, and basically in this magic school, on the day that these creatures attacked, they found magic books, and there's a healing magic book, a destruction magic books, and then there's other magic books, and he wound up being instructed to kind of join this school. But some people really don't want him there, and you'll see why in the book. They don't think that it's a good idea. And normally you're given like a couple of weeks to learn these spells, and he's given 3 days to learn 3 spells. No one thinks that he can do it, and that's kind of the start of it. I really liked the world building in this story, and I liked how he definitely wasn't like the typical hero that you expected, because no one thought that he was a hero or even wanted him there. I love that the side characters that we met, um, It was a very, very fast-paced adventure story. There was a very, very big info dump at the end, which is why I knocked off like a star and a half, because I felt that the end was really rushed and I felt like I was confused on what was happening. So I really gave this book like 3.5 stars, but I really am excited for book two. I love books that have like a trio of characters, and this book was just one that just really was a fast-paced adventure story. I've been reading a lot of contemporaries and I was afraid to dive back into like regular fantasy, but that book was one that I was super excited to read. And then I just started this morning. I just started The Lovely and the Lost by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I'm on page 32 right now. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about this because I really don't know anything, but I'm really liking it. So yeah, so that is what I'm gonna end this video here. So right now at the filming of this video, I have read 14 books and listened. I've read 13 books and listened to one. Which actually I think is probably my best reading month that I can recall in a while. And I think that's largely because I've read so many contemporary books. The month of May is going to be chaos. I'm just saying that right now. It's going to be chaotic. So I'm trying to get as much videos prepped as I can. This is the month of my show, and this is the month that I'm going to be EAM BookCon. So it's going to be really chaotic and really, really busy, but I'm really excited to see what this month brings. I'm sure it will be stressful, but I'm just excited. So yeah, so I'm gonna end this video here, and I will talk to you guys next month to let you guys know what I wound up reading in May. I'm either going to read so much or I'm going to read nothing. Let's take bets now. Which one do you think is gonna happen? And let me know in the comments what was your favorite book in the month of April. For me, it was definitely love by the one by Jennifer E. Smith, Love Notes on Love, and Call It What You Want. And also, I also really liked When Summer Ends. Those were probably my three favorites that I really enjoyed. But yeah, so let me know in the comments what you were really excited that you wound up reading this month and what you're looking forward to next month. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.